So you are precariously stacked on some paper towels, an external hard drive, and a camera case. And now you're my camera. Because I need to start reading one of my Unwrapped TBR books because there's not 31 days left in this month, there's 8 days left in this month, and I need to unwrap a book. Dan has picked 3 different books from my shelves. 2 are floppy paperbacks, 1's hardcover. And this one says ST8, Special Topic 8. And these 2 have no hints. Dan, pick a number 1 to 3.
6. Damn it. 1. Sorry, I jumped the gun there.
1. So this is 1. You can't hear the thuds, but there are cats fighting for their lives. Oh gosh, a cat has appeared off camera. You have picked Insatiable by Gail Green. Gail Green is a famous food critic who I really only recognize from Top Chef Masters.
That's not the Gail we know who's always on the judges?
No, Gail Simmons is
Sorry,
you're just hijacking my vlog. Gail Simmons is the young judge from Top Chef. Gail Green is the older Gail. She always is blonde and wears always has a hat on camera. Oh god, every cat has shown up. This is Gail Green. This is Gail Green.
Okay.
So I guess Insatiable is her memoir / it says Insatiable, Tales from a Life of Delicious Excess. Oh, which also the naked lady on the cover has a hat, which is a nod to Gail Green. So let me read the back. I love Le Cirque, but can I be trusted, writes Gail Green, the revered restaurant critic for New York Magazine, whose fierce wit and sensuous prose changed the way Americans think about food. Now, in this audacious memoir, Gail blends love and food, haute cuisine, and social history to capture an era of exotic excess and a life lived to its fullest. Detailing her trysts?
Yep.
Detailing her trysts with Elvis Presley, Hollywood icons, and celebrity chefs, Green takes you inside renowned restaurants such as
Pavillon.
La Pavillon, Le Bernardin, and Latisse?
Yeah, Lutece.
Lutece. Sorry, Dan took French throughout high school, so he's my soundboard. While offering intimate portraits of culinary legends such as Andre Saltner, James Beard, and Julia Child, among others. Filled with adventure, humor, and lovingly described meals, in this tale of pleasure and heartbreak will make you laugh, cry, and be undeniably hungry. So it is 300 plus pages. And when was this published? Oh, she's got a couple different books. That's good to know. Sorry, I know I'm looking down and my shoulders are slumped, but you're on a really awkward, precarious camera angle. Like I said, you're literally on a rack of paper towels. Disaster will strike at any moment, especially with 2 cats. This is from 2006. She has written other books called Delicious Sex, Blue Skies, No Candy, Dr. Love. This is kind of hilarious. Bite, a New York restaurant strategy. That seems out of place. After Sex and the College Girl, and Don't Come Back Without It. Yeah, that seems out of place. She wrote I'm gonna guess she wrote 1 food book and then a lot of other novels or something. But okay, I guess I will get started and I will check back in tomorrow. Hey everyone, it's my first check-in on Gail Green's memoir, Insatiable. I'm only about 20 minutes, almost knocked over my water, which if you haven't already, take a drink of water. I'm about 20 minutes into the audiobook version of this. I wanted to listen to the audiobook. I've mentioned it 1,000 times, but anytime a chef or a critic narrates their own memoir, I want to listen. So I did start listening, but it looks like Gail Green only does the intro and the first chapter about Elvis, the fried egg sandwich. And now she's popped out and there's a new audiobook narrator popping in. So I might go back and forth between the audiobook and the physical book. So the audiobook is only broken up into 4 chapters. Each is an hour and a half long. But the book is something like 20 little chapters long, which I think each little chapter is just going to be a different food writing adventure for Gail Green. But so far we've gotten her backstory. Gail Green's dad worked in fashion and owned in Detroit, excuse me. So Gail Green grew up in the fashion space, learning about the fashion world because of her father in Detroit, and then she was like the most lowest junior editor at a Detroit magazine, and she gave that up. She quit her job for a 10-day trial for a New York publication, excuse me. And the book starts off with her getting an offer to be the food restaurant critic for the New Yorker in its early days, which I think is super cool. At that point, they were only paid something like $300 a month, which I can't even imagine. And then she segues into the story about Elvis Presley, which she got laid by Elvis Presley. Pretty cool, pretty swagger, like a one-time hookup that happened. And she doesn't, it's really funny because she's like, I don't remember how long the sex was or how big he was. I think it was good, but of course I remember that what he asked for after was a fried egg sandwich. She's like, that, I should have known then that I was meant to work in food, but I had no idea. And I think that's really, I mean, it's really funny. It's really telling that she doesn't remember a lot about having sex with Elvis, but she remembered the fried egg sandwich. So I really like it so far, but I like it because it's Gail Green. So hopefully I like this new narrator, audiobook narrator, but I do have the physical book, obviously. So I think I'm going to switch to the physical book. If there are so many chapters, if the book has so many chapters, that to me over 300 pages indicates that, well, let's do the math. If there are 340 pages in the book and 20 chapters, each chapter is going to be about 15 to 20 pages. Obviously ebb and flow. So I think that I can, read 15 pages between meetings or during my work day and then pop back and forth. So that's going to be my goal. The only hard part about that is because the audiobook's only broken up into these 4 big 1 hour, 1.5 hour chapters, I'm not sure how to find like the little chapters. You know what I mean? Like do you know what I mean? Like the book is 20 plus chapters. So how am I going to find it in the audiobook? Who knows? We'll see. I really like it so far, but again, I'm only 20 minutes in and it's a pretty long book, at least for a memoir, it's pretty long. But more soon. So I'm back and I know the framing's a little janky. My camera is precariously tilted. I don't care. I'm between meetings. I have gotten through the first 11 chapters of Insatiable. So this was the first hour and a half on the audiobook. You know how I mentioned there's only 4 big chapters? I noticed, thankfully, that they announced each mini chapter within that hour and a half. So we just got to the new chapter and they started it by saying, Bite, a New York restaurant strategy. And thankfully, in the table of contents, they put the names of every chapter. So I can switch back and forth between the audiobook and the physical book, which I'm excited to do. I think I'm going to switch over. It's a nice afternoon and I would like to get away from... I'm trapped in my office right now. I mean, it's a work day. It's a Thursday. So you got to be where your computer is, right? So I'm excited to try and read this. It's a little bit of a nicer day out. It's been raining the past, wow, couple of days. I really like it. I love the restaurant world before it became everyone could be a foodie, which obviously that's part of, one of the effects of the internet boom, social media. Everyone can be a critic. And I mean, I take foodie pictures like everyone else when I go out to eat and I read and review food writing books. So it's a little hypocritical of me to say I don't benefit from everyone thinking they can be a critic, but I definitely love listening to the nostalgia of this was what it was like to just be the first critic at the New Yorker. And Gail Green is realizing that this is the first time she can charge her meals to a company credit card. And Her desire to meet Craig Claiborne, who was a huge and largely influential New York restaurant critic. It's almost like Gail Green is such a titan herself, so to listen to Gail Green titan fangirl, excuse me, about someone else is super charming and super cute. It's she's also growing up like in the 60s, 70s, and all of these changing worlds and times and things of access. And I mean, I can't imagine now what it's like if you're not a restaurant critic, how you can afford to visit all of these restaurants in New York City and all over the world, honestly. Like, I would love to go to Dan Barber's restaurant, Blue Hill at Stone Farm in Tarrytown, New York. It's in the same state as me. And it's something like, it's $290 a person. It's something Dan and I have to really save for. Like, some people go on vacations and go around the world. Dan and I save money to go eat places. And sometimes I think that's almost wrong. Like, I should be wanting to see the world, but I love seeing the world through a plate of food. Pardon me that, like, you can see some bubble wrap in the front of the camera. It's what the camera's tilting on. So, you know what? I just should not have even pointed it out. Whatever. Anyway, it's crazy because the audiobook is 4.5 hours. But 62 pages really doesn't look like much in such a big book. But I mean, the back of it is recipes. But I mean, really, the back of it's only like 20 to 30 30 pages. I don't know. Maybe it's the font's super big. It doesn't look that big to me. I mean, what do you think? That doesn't seem too like overly big to me. Anyway, I like it so far. I'm really hoping to make some more progress, at least get through another big chapter of the audiobook, if not another 60 to 100 pages before the weekend. I want to wrap up this vlog before the end of the weekend. I've got a lot of stuff to do for Read It and Eat. So hopefully multitasking will be my friend. I will see you in the next clip. Bye. Hey everyone, it's Kim, and I have officially finished Insatiable. So I finished it over the course of the weekend. It is now Sunday, sorry. So it took probably 4 sittings, an hour each, and I really did listen to just the audiobook. I thought I'd end up opening up the book, looking at the pages. Just ended up not being for me when it came to moving into a physical book, which it's interesting. I feel like if I read, let's say 2 books a week, I'm like 50-50 on a physical book or an ebook. 50% are audiobooks, sorry, and then the other 50% are either ebooks for ARCs, specifically because of NetGalley, or a physical book, and I just didn't get to a physical book version of this one. So the next book I pick up, I do want it to be a physical book. And I guess, like, it doesn't really matter, because the whole point is I'm unwrapping my physical TBR, which is important to get those down, because I have probably a backlog of books now I've bought from 2019, 2020 that I'm trying to get down. You can come in.
Are you filming something?
Yeah, but it's fine. So overall, I have finished Insatiable, and I didn't like it, which is really unfortunate. And maybe it was me, because when I think of Gail Green, I'll put her picture over here, I think of Gail Green as a judge on Top Chef Masters, and I really expected it to be more about food. And it is, you know, Gail Green's Insatiable, tales from a life of delicious excess. And imagine if this book was like framed around the 7 deadly sins. I mean, even look at the picture. We talked a lot more about sex than I thought we would, which I want to be very clear. I am not shaming anything Gail Green has done in her life. That is not the issue I have with this at all. Like, rock on, man. She had some of the most adventurous sex I'd ever heard from. But when I think of Gail Green, I think of my grandmother. So I'm like, Gail Green, like, hooked up in coat closets and planes and, like, had sex with Elvis and, like, had a porn star boyfriend for a while, or back before pornography, like when pornography was just becoming this thing, before video cassettes is her example. So part of me was like, yeah, rock on, Gail Green. I just wanted to hear more about food. I mean, that is what this channel is all about, is food. And I wanted to, you know, the back talks about Le Bernardin and James Beard and Julia Child, and they really were more guest stars in her life, which is fair. I mean, she's a food critic. I expected her to see lots of people and lots of restaurants, but I wanted to be in the restaurants more than in bed with Gail Green. In terms of writing style, though, Gail Green is meant to be a writer. Like, holy crap, did she find her calling? I'm so glad she didn't stay in her small town and help her dad with his fashion store. It's so beautiful. It's so vivid. Like, I was still super excited and wanted to see what was gonna happen next. It just wasn't what I was expecting. That's probably my biggest. I don't really do ratings anymore, star ratings, because first off, it feels weird to rate someone's life. But even more so, this just wasn't what I was expecting. I expected Gail Green, the food critic, and Life of Pleasure and Excess. I just expected like talks of truffle and foie gras. And, I got sex, food, world travel. There's a lot in there. And hearing the stories of where Gail would travel to was super interesting. I just wanted more food. I wanted to hear more about what she was eating and what food trends were happening. Now, what I did like about the audiobook is that Gail does come in and do the bookend. She does the intro and the epilogue or outro of the audiobook. And it was nice to hear from the woman who I recognize, who I learned about from Top Chef Masters. That was really delightful. That was like a little cherry on the end of a very odd story I didn't know I was going on. I do know I will be unhauling this book. I don't regret reading the book. Like that, I'm like struggling to articulate this scale of dissatisfaction I have, but this is a book I'm never gonna read again. And I don't know if I would recommend it to many people either, because it's not what I expected, especially as someone who predominantly works in reviews in the food writing space. So I will put it in my little free library. Is that too scandalous to put a book with involves a lot of sex in a little free library? It's technically not allowed. Do I think some mom might be upset? Maybe. I kind of like that anyway. Either way, the book is going to get donated. It's not staying on my master shelf. I have too many books and not enough space, and I don't have space for books that I'm never going to touch again or I found disappointing. I don't know what else to say, honestly, because I don't want to give you a play-by-play of all the men she slept with. And again, I don't have an issue with these relationships or who she was with. It's just like, I don't know how you review a memoir where a good chunk of the book is about her relationships and her courtships. And it just feels weird. I'll be like, and check out chapter 7 for the guy with the big dick. Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't know. I'm sorry. This is like such a strange end. But this is unwrapping my TBR for the month of March. I'm trying to think. I've now unwrapped a couple books. I also finished The Lentil Underground this month, which is a book still wrapped on my TBR because I just haven't found them. Note to future Kim. When we wrap more books for the Unwrapped TBR, number them and then put a guide somewhere. Write out each book on paper before you wrap them. Because there are instances where I might find a book unscribed and really want to listen to it, and I know I own it. I know it's wrapped on my TBR. And that's just an added benefit. I'm getting books off my backlog, but because they're all wrapped, I don't know where they are. So note to future Kim, let's make a grid. Let's not do this again. To be fair to Kim, I have so many more books still. I probably have at least 100+ books still wrapped up to read. Part of me is like, do I unwrap them all to number them, and then will I promptly forget? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think I should unwrap the books and rewrap them all and have a grid for my own sanity? It feels like a lot of, not really wasted paper. I'm sure I could probably unwrap the top and then find it from there. Maybe? Like, let me know. Is that worth the effort? Do you guys even care? Or is it just, Kim, this is truly Unwrap Your TBR. Just enjoy the ride. Like, Kim, you signed yourself up for this. I don't know. I want to say let me know in the comments below what you think of this book, but like, I don't know. How would you review a book that's someone's memoir that also involves a lot of sexual relationships? Do you guys even review memoirs? Like, do you give them star ratings? That I'm interested in. Let me know below. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I post new content every Tuesday and Saturday. And if you want to keep up with more up to date, on the nose, what I'm currently reading, feel free to follow me over on my Instagram. And if you're interested in the Read It and Eat subscription boxes, I'll have links down below. I do have a new special edition tea box that is out for the spring, for Mother's Day, Easter, or any other holiday, and proceeds from that box specifically are going to go to the World Central Kitchen. The World Central Kitchen is run by Jose Andres, and it is essentially the replacement for FEMA. It is chefs on the ground bringing warm meals to people all over the world, and they are currently on the ground in Ukraine helping the people that are staying and those who are choosing to flee. So know that $3 from each of your purchases of that limited edition tea box is going straight to helping people through World Central Kitchen. I've already started my donations by contributing my own first $50. So just know that everything else on top of it's still going to World Central Kitchen, but I like to put my money where my mouth is. I hope you're well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.